And it will be a huge steam to the front. Jamie Green crosses over to cut into the inside line. Rocky and Wittmann are side by side. Is Wittmann going to have enough to go through into the lead? Indeed he does. Nico Müller trying to go around the outside. Jamie Green and Nico Müller right side by side, but a brilliant start from Marco Wittmann, which sees him go straight into the lead. Tomczyk and Jamie Green together now. We're on board with Pascal Wehrlein. As through that hairpin they go, but it's Marco Wittmann that got his nose in front right at the very start. And we ride on board with Pascal Wehrlein, who is tucked in behind Jamie Green. So a supreme start from Marco Wittmann, a less good start from Mike Rockenfeller. Oh! And a big moment there. See on board from Timo Glock here as Danny Juncadella and Vitaly Petrov are getting together. So Timo then, who following his problems on the formation lap, starts the race right from the back of the grid, passes Daniel Juncadella and also Vitaly Petrov. It was Mortara that we saw having a big moment, managed to gather it all together though, thankfully. Wittmann leads. Some 8/10 over Mike Rockenfeller here. We are on board with Timo Glock now, the BMW driver. Just look at the margin that Marco Wittmann has built up already in that BMW over Mike Rockenfeller. Absolutely extraordinary pace from Marco Wittmann. 1.4 seconds over P2 already. Marco Wittmann, the champion. Timo Scheider then getting past Matthias Ekström. Matthias Ekström, of course, running on the standard tyres. Scheider on the option rubber. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen all the names that are indicated in yellow are running the option tyres. Those that have a black background are running on the standard tyres. Well, Petrov obviously having got past Glock once again. Glock did manage to get past Petrov, but it's Daniel Juncadella who's running right at the back now in the Mercedes, and you can hear that engine absolutely being caned by Daniel Juncadella. Wittmann leading from Mike Rockenfeller. Müller is P3. Then it's Tomczyk, Green, Wehrlein, Hand, Paffett, Tombe, De Resta, and Timo Scheider. So Antonio Felix da Costa, we saw in shot there. Oh, and Paul De Resta then just dipping into the gravel. You can see it from on board. That'll rattle the windscreen of both Matthias Ekström and Timo Scheider, and some debris there coming off the car as well. And there it is, one of the brave marshals here getting some of the bodywork away. Came off that De Resta car. De Resta running in P10 at the moment. On lap 2 of 44 here. Two Red Bull cars together there. Matthias Ekström for Audi. Antonio Felix da Costa behind Eki in the BMW. Here they come through on shot now. It's battle for P12. Eki is P12, Antonio Felix da Costa P13. Wittmann with 1.5 seconds to the good, leads the race. This is Vitaly Petrov running down there last now, having been taken by both Timo Glock and Danny Juncadella, and some flapping bodywork at the back of that car. So there is Marco Wittmann through the chicane here, seemingly with everything very much under control at the front. Did all the hard work, of course, at the start. Managed to get the get-go on Mike Rockenfeller and went into turn 1 in the lead. On board with Matthias Ekström right now. Fantastic on-board shot as Matthias, who, of course, is running on the standard tyre. As DRS gets enabled now. So Antonio Felix da Costa having got past Matthias Ekstrom. Making the first of those in the grid order to start on the standard tyre. Going to be very, very interesting to see when these option tyres begin to go off. Expecting rate of wear to be high here at the Zandvoort circuit. Joey Hand in P7 with Gary Paffett right behind him. Paffett was the one that was impeded by Ekstrom. So Timo Scheider goes through, or tries to go through on Paul de Resta and does so. So Eki, of course, getting that grid penalty for impeding Gary Paffett. We're on board with Timo Scheider now. And this is Matthias Ekstrom, who, and that's Antonio Felix da Costa on the option tyre, managing to get past Matthias Ekstrom. Now, the margin between P1 and P2 has come down by a couple of tenths. Rocky is now just managing to get to grips with the Audi and beginning, or whether there was a slight error from Marco Wittmann. It was unseen to us. Wittmann leads from Rocky, from Muller, from Tomczyk, then it's Green P5, Wehrlein Hand P6 and P7, then Paffett, Tombe and Timo Scheider. We're on board with right now, running out the top 10 here at Zandvoort in this, the second from last race in the DTM Championship for 2014, the championship that it was won at Lasseterring by Marco Wittmann, the man that is leading this race. And Rocky has taken another whole heap of time out of Marco Wittmann. So the margin now is just under 9 tenths between Marco Wittmann and Mike Rockenfeller. We could have a race on our hands here at the front. Timo Glock battling his way back there in P21. He's got Robert Wickens ahead of him, and Augusto Farfus is ahead of Robert Wickens. We ride on board with Timo Glock right now. So Timo with that problem right at the very start of the race. And every car on the grid getting past him, which meant that Timo Glock not able to take up his original starting position, had to go right to the back of the grid as Tombe is off. Adrien Tombe has clattered into the barriers. Now, doubtless we will get a replay of exactly how that happened, but that has provoked the safety car that's coming out, which will bunch everyone up, and Rocky was already taking time out of Marco Wittmann at the front, but Adrien Tombe is in the barriers here. So there you can see in full view on screen that the safety car is being deployed. This will bunch the cars up. Very early stages of the race. Was discussing with Andrew Van Leeuwen from Autosport magazine earlier this morning the likelihood of a safety car here. Well, Adrian then just getting out on the grass. And here we can see it from a different camera angle, carrying too much speed, and just went clattering and sliding across the grass, and ends up T-boning the barrier. The impact was before then, but that's enough to provoke a safety car. And good to see Adrien Tombe out of the car all okay. So disappointment then for Adrien Tombe, out of the race. And the safety car out now. And in straight away, Danny Juncadella. And we're on board with Danny Juncadella, who's chosen to dive in under the safety car period. And the snatch truck to the Adrien Tombe car away to safety. Now, Juncadella started on the standard tyre and has chosen to pit during the safety car. Best of my knowledge, looking at the screen, absolutely no one else choosing to go in at this early stage. So with the pit stop window, which opens lap 15, as we're watching Marco Wittmann getting through on Mike Rockenfeller, an unscheduled stop for Danny Juncadella then to come in and change tyres. And that stop will be in addition to the mandatory one that he has to make as well. And this was the drag to turn one, and Rocky just didn't get quite enough of a getaway to block Marco Wittmann going through to take the lead. And Jens Marquardt and Wolfgang Ulrich from BMW and Audi, respectively, watch on as the 2013 and 2014 champion battled right at the front of the pack. Right through the middle there, Edo Mortara. This from Timo Scheider. Adrien Tombe ahead right in the middle there. So Timo Scheider getting up the inside of Miguel Molina. Molina sticking with it because Molina managing to carry enough speed to keep him alongside. This on board from Matthias Ekstrom. Well, another one choosing to come in is Vitaly Petrov. Petrov also started on the standard tyre. So these stops are not the scheduled pit stops. That comes from lap 15. Safety car coming in this lap. So the stops we've seen from Petrov and also from Juncadella, unscheduled ones. And their mandatory stops will have to be made in addition, but they're running right at the back of the pack anyway, so damage limitation, I guess. Well, Wittmann had, in the early stages, first 2 laps or so, built up a huge lead over Mike Rockenfeller, but then, as we headed towards what has become this safety car period, Rocky was taking time right out of Marco Wittmann as he tries to back them all up now, and he'll hope to get a flyer here. And Rocky, you can just sense, as indeed is Nico Müller, waiting to pounce if they possibly can. There you can see they're all in anticipation, trying to anticipate when Marco Wittmann is going to floor it. And they're staying right with them, and still Marco's backing them up, and now he gets away. And he did a good job there because both Rocky and Müller, well, they couldn't quite get the march on him there, and he's, well, he pushed that to restart perfectly, really. So now it'll be interesting to see what both Rocky and Müller can do. Gary Paffett around the outside of Joey Hand here. Wasn't able quite to stick with that line. Battle for P7 is 7 is Joey Hand, 8 is Gary Paffett, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, the order as it is. We're on board with Timo Scheider down there in P9, following that Paffett-Joey Hand battle. So it was just under 6/10 over Sector 1 that Wittmann had the margin over Mike Rockenfeller. Has increased that a little bit through Sector 2. On board with Timo Scheider once again. And there you can see Joey Hand, Gary Paffett, and Timo Scheider, man in the center of our shot there, who is P9. Paul de Resta is P10. So they cross the line then, and look at this, Timo Scheider right on the back of Gary Paffett. Paul de Resta trying to buy into this as well. Paffett gets past Joey Hand. Timo Scheider trying to go around the outside. Is there contact between Paul de Resta and Joey Hand? Paul de Resta manages to muscle his way through. Joey Hand going backwards. So it's now Paffett, Scheider, then it's de Resta and Hand. So Joey Hand, the big loser in that. There's Antonio Felix da Costa right behind him now. And Gary Paffett really on a charge here. P7 for Paffett now. He has his Mercedes stablemate Pascal Wehrlein ahead of him. Just see Wehrlein going through on shot. And there is Paul di Resta. Oh, Joey Hand gets out on the grass. That allows Antonio Felix da Costa to go through. And maybe Molina as well. My mistake, actually, Mortara there. Manages to get through following that mistake from Joey Hand. So Wittmann leads with a 1 second margin. Now this is where Joey Hand just slips out onto the grass there. It's enough for Felix da Costa. We can see it from being on board there, kicking up a lot of the sand. And Paffett also running out onto the gravel as well. But still able to keep that play on Joey Hand. This is Timo Scheider in replay alongside Gary Paffett. Paffett in the Euronics liveried Mercedes-Benz. Oh, and Paul di Resta has overcooked it somewhere and has been out onto the grass in the dunes. So this is Antonio Felix da Costa, and there was contact there. Doubtless that will be investigated by the stewards because that's turned di Resta around. And this is how it started. And that is how it finished up for Paul di Resta. So having gone so well, Paul di Resta was up to points playing place. Turned around by Antonio Felix da Costa. So there, no surprise, the incident between Paul di Resta and Antonio Felix da Costa is under investigation. We go back to Timo Scheider, running in P8 with Gary Paffett ahead in P7. Then we see the man under investigation now, Antonio Felix da Costa. It's Bruno Spengler and Christian Vittoris and Timo Glock all together there. So the order then at the bottom of your screen, it is Wittmann with 8/10 over Mike Rockenfeller. Then it's Muller, Tomczyk, Green, Wehrlein, and Paffett and Scheider. On board with Timo Glock. Running down there, P16, the inside of Christian Vittoris. Is he able to keep that line? Christian Vittoris able to shut the door. Glock running on the option tyres, Vittoris on the standard tyres, so Glock has got the tyre advantage. Still got to find and navigate a way around the Mercedes-Benz ahead of him, driven by Christian Vittoris. See on the left-hand side of your screen, 7/10 is the margin between Wittmann and P1 and Mike Rockenfeller P2. Rocky opened up a real gap over Nico Muller in P3. As Glock once again lines up Christian Vittoris here, and this time will get right alongside him, but is misplaced for the next corner. That is the problem. And that's when Christian Vittoris is just able to shut the door. Timo Glock working really, really hard here to try and get past Christian Vittoris. And again, dives to the inside, and this time he gets the job done. And through the chicane, Timo Glock moves up another place. You can see him at work in the Deutsche Post BMW. And this in replay, how Timo Glock lined that up. The yellow banding on the tyres indicating that he's running on options. And of course, Christian Vittoris running on the standard tyre. 11 of 44 laps completed here at Zandvoort for this DTM round in the sand dunes. And once again now, just looking at the times on the left-hand side of your screen between P1 and P2, Mike Rockenfeller has taken another couple of tenths out of Marco Wittmann. So there is Mike Rockenfeller, who's beginning to reel Marco Wittmann in. Now, we've seen Wittmann under pressure before in situations like that, and he's been able to keep his cool. Race is on, obviously. Mike will be so disappointed with his start that he wasn't able just to shunt his car across the front of Marco Wittmann and go into turn one in the lead, but he really is reeling in. Wittmann now. Through the chicane they go. Nico Muller P3, just see him in shot as well. But the race is on between the 2013 and the 2014 champion for victory here in Zandvoort, potentially. Between these two, the race that we've had an early safety car. On to the start-finish straight they go off the back of Arie Luijendijk turn into turn 1, the Tarzan turn here at the Zandvoort circuit. And now it's just under 5/10, the gap between Rocky and Wittmann. Rocky, of course, will have the benefit of DRS. Wittmann won't. And that playing into the hands of Mike Rockenfeller. They go through that hairpin, then the uphill stretch through turns 4, 5 before they get to turn 6. We're on board with Timo Glock now, who has Bruno Spengler for company. Glock running in P14. Spengler losing out there. And that's how Spengler lost out. It's Timo Glock. Hand of appreciation goes out there. This is the battle that we're interested in, the battle right at the front between Mike Rockenfeller and Marco Wittmann, and Rocky is right on the back of Wittmann now. The margin is under 3/10 between the two. So Rocky following in the wheel tracks of Marco Wittmann. And at this stage, you would say it's when, not if. Rocky makes his move on the Ice Watch BMW driver ahead of him. The 2014 champion, the 2013 champion together here around the Arie Luijendijk turn. And here comes Rocky. So the DRS deployed by Mike Rockenfeller. Marco Wittmann locks up into turn 1. Is he still able to cover it off? Through the turn 2 and 3 section into the hairpin before they run uphill now. Marco doing a good job of defending that. It caused him to lock up into turn 1. But even that was not enough to send him offline and allow Mike Rockenfeller just to get his nose up the inside. So Wittmann with another lap of heavy, hard-duty defending against Mike Rockenfeller here. Over the last timing line from the sector, it was 3/10 that Wittmann had over Rocky, but Rocky is sticking right with him here. So let's see how he can do here. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it that the Audis are coping with these option tyres perhaps better than the BMW. So Rocky right behind Wittmann, and Muller not far behind either. Tomczyk in P4 under pressure from Jamie Green in P5. So again now, Mike Rockenfeller will deploy the DRS. This will get him right onto the back of Marco Wittmann. He tries to dive up the inside. Wittmann closes that door, shuts the door. Rocky goes to the outside. He'll try the undercut here, but Wittmann doesn't leave enough room for him to be able to do so, and perhaps Rocky didn't quite have the legs to do it. But Nico Muller is now beginning to join into this battle as well. So the BMW holding up the two Audis here that definitely look superior, but they're only superior if they can get past, and at the moment Marco's doing a fantastic job in terms of defending his position. We're on lap 14 of 44 here at Zandvoort. And the order is Marco Wittmann, that you can see now in the middle of your screen. He leads from Mike Rockenfeller, and then Nico Muller. Then we see another BMW P4 is Tomczyk, and Jamie Green behind him in P5, and then it's Pascal Wehrlein, best Mercedes P6 with Paffett, his Mercedes teammate alongside him. So we are but a lap away from the pit window opening. So Wittmann and Rocky once again. As we go on to the Audi pit perch. Rocky just biding his time. He's had a couple of nibbles at Marco Wittmann, neither of which have worked. And this time, once again, both Rocky and Muller will deploy DRS. That's not available to Marco Wittmann. But Rocky not close enough to be able to make a move on Marco Wittmann. 4/10 the margin when they cross the timing line as Jamie Green and Tomczyk together there. And, well, Green proving the Audi superiority as he gets past Tomczyk. So we lead with BMW. Then it is 3 Audis. This is the replay. And Jamie Green through on Tomczyk. Ran a bit wide, but was able to cover that off, and Tomczyk not able to come back. So the Audi's performance on the option tyres superior. Jamie Green now up to P4 and was being held up by Tomczyk, so he will be on a charge now as well. Here is the best placed Mercedes driver, Pascal Wehrlein. You can see Gary Paffett right behind him. This fantastic shot that we're able to bring you rearward facing from the Pascal Wehrlein car. It's Wehrlein, Paffett, and then Timo Scheider now. Scheider, Paffett, Wehrlein. Well, in fact, the top 10 all on the option tyres. Audi's definitely got the march on the BMWs in terms of performance with the option tyres at the moment. Although now Wittmann has increased his margin over Mike Rockenfeller, and even with the DRS assist, Rocky not on the back of Wittmann at the moment. Jamie Green making great strides now. He's been released from the clutches of Martin Tomczyk, and Rocky has gone through. So Mike Rockenfeller now takes up the lead. Just saw the back end of that overtake, and going into turn 1, it didn't look like Rocky was close enough, but obviously he was. Whether there was a mistake there from Marco Wittmann, let's see it. Yeah, another lockup from Wittmann, and that was enough because Wittmann runs wide, and that allows Rocky to go through. And a delight in the garage. And now just look at the margin that Rocky has built up over Marco Wittmann already. He's holding Nico Muller up now, and Muller's going to have to find a way past. On lap 16 of 44, then Mike Rockenfeller becomes the leader of the race. You'd have expected him to take his pole position on the grid and convert that into the lead of the race at turn 1, but it wasn't to be. Marco Wittmann got the march on him at the start, but now you can see just the superior paces. Oh, that's a great shame, seeing the retirement of Paul di Resta. Interestingly, race control suggesting that no further action going to be taken between the incident between Paul di Resta and Antonio Felix da Costa that we saw earlier, as in comes Marco Wittmann from P2. So BMW's clearly suffering now with those tyres. Also coming in is Martin Tomczyk. So in comes Marco Wittmann, needing a good stop from the team here, which is delivered. 2.6 seconds, Martin Tomczyk clock on him as well. Well, 1/10 slower. Here's Gary Paffett, who's been in also. And they are all back out on track ahead of Joey Hand. So Wittmann now with traffic and going to be mired in that because he's got Christian Vettoris ahead, and ahead of Christian Vettoris is Bruno Spengler. Too much of a problem with Bruno Spengler, more of a problem with Christian Vettoris. Rocky leading by 2.5 seconds over Nico Muller. And the 1, 2, 3 then on track, all Audis with Mercedes, Pascal Wehrlein, P4. Mandatory pit stop window is open as Wittmann dives up the inside of Christian Vettoris and goes through. Up next in the target sights of Marco Wittmann will be Bruno Spengler. and out is Augusto Farfus. Damage to the front of that car, and this will provoke another safety car, surely, because A, where the car is, B, with the debris on the track. So Augusto Farfus, as we watch Pascal Wehrlein. Oh, and that's a really slow stop for Pascal Wehrlein. So safety car out, as I predicted, for the stricken Augusto Farfus car. Thankfully, Augusto getting out of the car and is all okay. But for the second time of asking here at Zandvoort, the safety car is out, and Augusto absolutely fuming. You can see that with the anger with which he shut the door. Now, we haven't seen yet in replay how that occurred. There's the safety car waiting to pick up the race leader. Oh my goodness me, Augusto Farfus there right across. That was at the entrance to the chicane. Absolutely flying across the curb, and well, that's why. That's why he got a nerf by Daniel Juncadella, and that's why we're seeing so much anger from Augusto Farfus. So here we can see it from on board with Farfus. First of all, look, impact on the barriers, and big impact at that. That spins and turns the car around, and it's pirouetting across the tarmac. You can see debris coming off the front of the car, and it comes to rest in the gravel. Well, BMW team RBM not impressed there, as you can see. And there was the door being slammed shut by Augusto Farfus. Absolutely fuming. Well, no surprise that under investigation, the incident between car number 3 and car number 19. As the car is lifted to safety, the debris is swept away from the track, and Augusto Farfus becomes a retirement like Paul di Resta from this race. Also out, Adrien Tombe. There is our race leader, Mike Rockenfeller. There's P2, Nico Muller, and P3, Jamie Green, with Timo Scheider, P4. Now this may have damaged the race for Rocky. Now, bearing in mind that Wittmann has already made a stop. Where are we now? P9 for Marco Wittmann, Rocky, Muller, Gree, all got to stop yet. We're under the safety car. There is the Farfus car being taken out. Now, depending on how quickly they manage to get that car away, and to be fair, they were well progressing with that, and also the debris away from the track. As to how soon the safety car comes back in. So Danny Juncadella then is the man that's under investigation. You see the damage to the front of that car, and it was that nerf on Augusto Farfus that sent him pirouetting across the track. Great to see him out of the car and seemingly all okay. And there you can see just how big the impact was as Augusto Farfus clattered into the barriers. Lights still on the safety car. No indication that it's coming in this lap. So, been reported to the stewards, the incident between Farfus and Juncadella. Well, before we get the restart underway, luckily Verena has managed to catch up with Paul di Resta.
Yeah, very furious Paul di Resta, as I can see, obviously. What exactly happened? An incident with Da Costa, I think?
Yeah, I mean, it was a small incident. I'm not really sure. I think it was a little bit late from his side, but we were struggling quite badly from lap 1. Something I think was wrong with the car. That's why we've had to retire. I don't think it was a contact that done it. But at the same point, you know, driving standards are always on the edge, and you know, when you retire for something like that, it's a bit frustrating given where we were. I think we were in a strong position where we could have scored some points, and yeah, another weekend over, and hopefully Hockenheim we can get back on track.
Best of luck for Hockenheim. Thank you very much, and back to you.
Thanks, Verena, and well done for catching up with Paul di Resta. Surprised to hear that perhaps there was something right. Felt there was something not quite right with the car, because, well, there we are. He would know better than anyone, of course. So, safety car in this lap. Being told, it's Rockenfeller, Muller, Green, and Scheider. 4-car Audi lockout at the front at the moment, but we are not even at half distance of this DTM race here at Zandvoort. Race that has had 2 safety cars in the first half of the race. So Rocky floors it now. And Muller, Green, and Scheider behind. Through the Arie Luijendijk turn they come then, and the race resumes following that safety car period for the Augusto Farfus incident. Into turn 1 goes Mike Rockenfeller, Nico Muller, Jamie Green, and Timo Scheider. Now there's the man to watch, Marco Wittmann, who from P9 has already made his mandatory pit stop. He's on the standard tyres now. Yes, Timo Glock ahead of him on very, very old option tyres. As you can see, the pit stop window, because of the safety car being increased. So Rocky with 7/10 over Nico Muller, but the gap back to Marco Wittmann in P9 is just under 5 seconds, 4.9. In fact, it's come down now to 4.7. It changes as we look at the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. So there is Rocky, there's Nico Muller, and Muller under pressure from Jamie Green. Jamie Green right on him. Marco, I would think, isn't going to have too much of a problem getting past Timo Glock. To move up a further place, that would give him P8. Then he'll have Molina and Eki ahead of him. And Muller runs wide, and that allows Jamie Green through. Does it allow Timo Scheider through as well? Possibly so. No. Manages to shut the door. Scheider not able to, but Scheider going for it now, and he's going to be best placed to be able to take advantage, and does. He goes through. So the order at the top end changes. P2, because that now becomes Jamie Green, and P3 Timo Scheider, Nico Muller losing out 2 places. There goes Marco Wittmann on Timo Glock. Really rather expected that. And now Marco Wittmann will be chasing after Molina. There's Molina going through. There is Marco Wittmann. Felix da Costa running in P5, we can see there. So Antonio Felix da Costa having got past Muller as well. And now Ekstrom lining him up as Marco Wittmann lines up Molina. So Eki goes through, and now Marco Wittmann lines up Miguel Molina. The Ice Watcher BMW, Molina got the right line going into this turn. Marco Wittmann will try now just to stick with it and keep the pressure on Miguel Molina. Molina runs just a little bit wide, is out on the curves. Marco dives to the inside, isn't going to be space there for him to be able to use. Cars coming in to take their mandatory pit stops. And Wittmann, turn 1, big lock up from Molina. Is that going to be enough for Wittmann to get his nose up the inside and get right alongside Molina. No, Molina shuts the door once again. Wittmann having to work really, really hard here to try and get past Miguel Molina. Molina's back end steps out there. Here comes Antonio Felix da Costa, Matthias Ekstrom, and Nico Müller. Also Christian Vittoris and Bruno Spengler. You can see the pit in, pit out times there. And Marco Wittmann still battling behind Miguel Molina. Molina trying to make the Audi as wide as possible to prevent the BMW of Marco Wittmann to get past. Wittmann being held up here big time and needs to get past. Now dives to the inside and Wittmann executes that perfectly. So Wittmann now moves up a further place and is now P4. Molina tries to fight back. Wittmann has it all under control. Wittmann now running onto the standard tyres. On board with Timo Glock and Molina ahead of him, the guy that Marco Wittmann has just managed to get past. And here we can see it in replay as Wittmann was able to dive to the inside and perfectly execute a maneuver. And, well, discontent from the Audi Sport Team Phoenix engineers. Now Martin Tomczyk gets past Timo Glock. And in Molina, Jamie Green has been in. A 3.3 second stop for Jamie Green, 3 seconds for Molina. Green filters back out again. Here comes Molina. Augusto Farfus, we saw him looking extremely angry, and you're very brave to be talking to him. Verena Wright.
Yeah, I think he's calmed down a little bit. We saw you very furious. What exactly happened? Why were you so furious?
Yeah, I had an enormous hit from the back from John Cadella, and the race was over. I think he completely forgot to brake, and that's why I'm upset, because it was not a little touch, it was a massive impact.
And is he still under investigation, do you know?
I haven't seen on TV, but I mean, I'm sure he will be.
Thank you very much, Augusto. And he can smile again, which is always good. Sportsman, that is. Back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Well, the incident being reporting to the stewards, so it's definitely under investigation. And Augusto Farfus then having calmed down a little bit, but as he said, his race was over. So sure, it wasn't anything malicious from him. Cadella just missed his breaking point completely and fired into the back of Augusto Farfus, which sent him pirouetting across the track. Okay, race leader Mike Rockenfeller crosses the line now, and Timo Scheider into the pit, which means in P2 is Marco Wittmann. So Wittmann then some 8 seconds behind Mike Rockenfeller, the race leader. Scheider is in, a 3.2 second stop for Scheider. He will come out. Jamie Green will just get past, I think. Glock also in. Out goes Glock. So Green is P10 on track. Scheider P11. Robert Wickens is... Oh, that's Nico Müller into the tyre barriers. Look how close that is to the edge of the circuit. If that car can't be moved quickly, that's going to throw another safety car. So Nico Müller into the tyre barriers. I didn't quite see how that started yet. There is the safety car coming out again. Third time in this race here at Zandvoort. Oh, well, that's why. A little touch from Christian Vittoris. And that was enough to send Nico Müller taking that corner into the tyre barriers. So Mike Rockenfeller then will be picked up by the safety car. And, well, Vittoris and Müller, that incident going to be investigated. Of course, that is under investigation. Now, talk about playing into the hands of Marco Wittmann. Because all of a sudden, whatever lead Rocky had has been brought down to effectively 0. Nico Müller then, good to see him out of the car and unharmed, but that corner of the car looking very much second-hand, and that car going to have to be recovered from there. So, safety car out for the 3rd time here at Zandvoort. So out of the race then, Müller, Farfus, De Resta and Adrien Tombe as well. So all of a sudden, it's Audi, BMW, BMW, before we see Mortara in P4, then Gary Paffett now is in P5. So interestingly now, Matthias Ekström with the good performing Audi and the option tyre against the standard tyre for Marco Wittmann, Eki in P9 as we see the replay of Nico Müller into the tyre barriers. Well, the second half of the race is going to be very interesting indeed. And there we can see it from up on high. Quite an impact there for Nico Müller, but these DTM cars, super safe and extremely well engineered. And Nico Müller out of the car, completely and totally unharmed, but his race done and dusted. So Ekström then on option tyres for the remainder of this race. We've already seen that the option tyres working so very well with the Audis. Eki now from P9 sees the chance of the podium and even potentially the win in sight. There's a very disappointed Nico Müller. Now with, where are we? Safety car, lap 27 of 44. Race is going to go to time rather than laps, which will mean we have something like just over 27 minutes left of this race, because the 3rd safety car period means we're not going to complete all the 44 laps. It will go to the time limit rather than laps. Looking at Vitaly Petrov ahead, who is currently P8. So there, the safety car leads them away. Rocky, Wittmann and Tomczyk. Then we see Mortara, Paffett, Wehrlein, Hand, Petrov, and then we get to the Matthias Ekström and Jamie Green cars. So there's Mr. Abt on the pit perch, directing operations. Final 26 minutes or so of this race going to be absolutely fascinating. Danny Ucadella right at the back, and there's the damage to the Nico Müller car, which has taken a little while to be recovered from that impact with the barriers. This then the last but one round for DTM for 2014. Championship already having been decided at Lassett's Ring in favour of Marco Wittmann. Battle is on for P2 and P3 in the championship, and the battle still on, of course, the Teams and Constructors Championships as well. So still everything to play for here in DTM before we head off to the final round in Hockenheim. Camera from up there with the many fans enjoying this from the dunes of the seaside resort Zandvoort in Holland. So So the Muller car being taken to a position of safety. I don't think there was any debris at all on the circuit. So once the car is in a position of safety, then we will see the safety car in, and the race will resume to time rather than laps as our heli shot. Then over the hotel right beside the circuit, big holiday resort, of course, Zandvoort, and a fantastic shot there. And think of the cameraman on the left-hand side of your screen who's around that cherry picker, rather you than me, friend. As there we can see the Muller car being placed down. Then as soon as that recovery vehicle is out of the way, lights will be out in the safety car and we'll get racing underway once again. And we're expecting the option tyre shod Matthias Ekström, who is currently P9, to be the big winner from this safety car period. As Petrov, Hand, Wehrlein ahead. And sadly, we've lost from the race Nico Muller, Augusto Farfus, Paul de Resta, and Adrien Tombe. Nico Muller then, bitterly disappointed, I'm sure. He's with Verena now.
Nico, how disappointed are you? I mean, that is really terrible. The race is over for you. I mean, you looked really gutted.
Well, yeah, the accident now in the end, that was really unnecessary, and that's hurting. But I mean, the race just went completely wrong from the first safety car phase on. I mean, I had a very good start. I think the best of the first two rows, and was gaining a place there. And then I was looking after my tires in the beginning, and after safety car phase, somehow I had a problem on my front right, and I lost a lot of positions there. And then it just started to go from bad to worse. And, yeah, not at all what we hoped for after yesterday.
But there are a lot of accidents happening here on this circuit. Is it because Zandvoort is so very challenging, or why do you think?
Well, the differences here from the option to the standard are big in the beginning of a stint, but very small later on. So you try to defend your position when you're on either tire, and not really as on other tracks where overtaking is really easy and you will anyway gain your position back. Here it's different, so everybody's fighting even harder, and that's happening on a track where you don't have runoff, and it's very tight, so accidents happen very easily here.
Thank you very much for that explanation, and back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, Nico's saying it exactly the way it is, to be honest with you, that the margins at the beginning of any stints on tyres are huge, but they then decrease and decrease and decrease. And he was quite rightly saying there that without the huge runoff areas here at Zandvoort, with everyone pushing and charging as hard as they are, then when an incident does happen, the inevitable consequences are much greater here at Zandvoort than perhaps somewhere else. So we're looking at Joey Hand's BMW going through on screen from P7. That's Vitaly Petrov, who's behind him, that we can see from our onboard shot now from Matthias Ekström's car. So safety car coming in this lap. The lights are out in the safety car. So once again, Mike Rockenfeller will back everyone up. Marco Wittmann is right on his tail. Then we see Martin Tomczyk. Now bear in mind that Wittmann, Tomczyk, Mortara, Paffett, Wehrlein, Hand and Petrov. So from P2 through to P8, they're all on the standard tyre. Matthias Ekström is on the option tyre. So Rocky leading, but for how long? Mike Rockenfeller, Marco Wittmann. Then it's Martin Tomczyk and Eduardo Mortara as the safety car dives in and the race resumes again. A 20-minute duration left, we think, for this race. We're not going to go to laps, we're going to go to time. And Rocky choosing not to dive in, stays out. And we're on board with Eki, who takes Vitaly Petrov with relative ease. Up next for Matthias Ekström is going to be Joey Hand. There's Christian Vittoris. Incident between him and Nico Muller that saw the retirement of Nico Muller are going to be under investigation. So Joey Hand is the next, then for Matthias Ekstrom, and interestingly, no further action. Just as we mentioned, the Christian Vitoris and Nico Muller incident, no further action going to be taken. So there we have it, Matthias Ekstrom. Let's stay with this onboard shot. A fantastic shot here as he's hounding down Joey Hand ahead of him. And a big, huge gaggle of cars there lined up behind Vitaly Petrov. So Joey Hand is disposed of. Ecky's charge continuing. Ah, and there's contact between Mike Rockenfeller and Marco Wittmann. Martin Tomczyk right on them as well now. So Rocky, and then Wittmann, then Tomczyk. And again, so very close. Rocky just able to hold on. Into the hairpin now. Turn 3, so we see out Molina. Ecky on Paffett now, gets past Gary Paffett, moves up a further place. Ecky really charging. Has Edo Mortara ahead now. And Matthias Ekstrom absolutely flying. Aided, of course, by the option tyres. Paffett and Wehrlein together there. So now Tomczyk goes into defend mode against Matthias Ekstrom. Ahead of Tomczyk, Marco Wittmann. This is a brilliant shot. Ecky at work here across the back end of the Tomczyk car. Just 17.5 minutes remain. Car number 1 investigation. Inaccurate DRS activation as Rocky now dives in. Those tyres absolutely shot to bits, I would think. So past Tomczyk goes Ekstrom. And now Matthias Ekstrom just has the 2014 champion ahead of him, Marco Wittmann, as tyres go on now. But car number 12 also under investigation, Robert Wickens. But let's focus on this battle now. As Matthias Ekstrom tries to find a way past Marco Wittmann. Wittmann's mirrors full of the Red Bull livery of Matthias Ekstrom. And Ecky right alongside Wittmann, and is he going to be able to make this move stick? Wittmann does everything he can, tries to squeeze every ounce of power out of the BMW. Ecky and Wittmann absolutely side by side here. But Ekstrom goes through into the chicane, having taken the lead. What a storming drive for Matthias Ekstrom, aided, of course, by those option tyres. There's a little bit of satisfaction there on the face of the AB team. Into the final 16 minutes of this incredible DTM race, being led now by Matthias Ekstrom with Marco Wittmann, the 2014 champion, P2. Then it's Tomczyk, and then Mortara. Joey Hand in the mix there with Danny Juncatella and Bruno Spengler. There's Christian Vitoris and Maxime Martin. Gary Paffett, well, Pascal Wehrlein did get past Gary Paffett. We saw them together. Paffett for the moments that we'd seen him, was able to keep the Wehrlein charge at bay, but not now. Wehrlein has gone through. So the race order then, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, it's Matthias Ekström from Marco Wittmann and Martin Tomczyk, the 1, 2, 3. Christian Vitouris on Jamie Green. Jamie Green on Gary Paffett now. So Zandvoort then always been favoured as Christian Vitouris dives up the inside of Jamie Green. Say the Zandvoort circuit favoured by Audi. Not the case certainly for Jamie Green there. Of course, Christian Vitouris running on the option tyres, Jamie Green on the standard tyres. So with the safety car phases having really played into the whole tyre degradation and use issues, in a fascinating race as Vitouris now on Gary Paffett. Gary shuts the door on Jamie Green. Former teammates, of course, in Mercedes before Jamie Green made the move to Audi. On board with Pascal Wehrlein, who is running standard tyres on Eduardo Mortara ahead of him in P4. And there we can see that from that shot. So the gap between Mortara and Wehrlein, just 0.3 or so. Ekström already having built up a lead of 2.1 seconds over Marco Wittmann as Gary Paffett. Oh, and that was quite an impact for Gary Paffett on the Armco barriers there. Just saw that happening through the corner of my eye as I was looking at the timing screen. Paffett tries to dig the car out of the gravel, but that's going to be bogged in there. Let's see how that happened. Seemed to quite tell from on board from Timo Scheider. Here we can see, just runs wide, out onto the grass. Once on the grass, fortunately Gary is nothing but a passenger there. Slides into the Armco, which here we can see it from up on high. Armco does its job and it's the speed, and then is into the gravel trap. And good to see Gary Paffett out, all okay. His race done and dusted, and we add him to the list of Petrov, Muller, Farfus, De Resta and Tombe, and the safety car comes out yet again. This, by my reckoning, is the 4th time that the safety car has been out. Had a conversation with Gary earlier. Really, really sorry to see Gary out of the race. Been an absolutely torrid season for Gary Paffett, who has been working so very hard trying to extract the max out of a car which has up until the latter part of the season has perhaps underperformed, and Gary's such a stalwart for Mercedes and such an experienced driver. Anyone is going to be able to extract the most out of the car, he is the man. This was Matthias Ekström taking the lead. Marco Wittmann trying his level best, but the superior Matthias Ekström's Audi going into the chicane just outbraked Marco Wittmann, and he was through. This was the start of the whole overtake from Matthias Ekström. You can see Marco Wittmann trying very hard to keep there. Eki leaving Marco plenty of racing room, but Eki just had the power and the grip going in and just outbraked Wittmann into the right-hander at the chicane, and he took up the lead. Before the safety car was deployed, had built a lead of some 2.5 seconds. We're into our final 10.5 minutes of this race. The race that's been punctuated by 4 safety car deployments. And we've seen the retirements of that man, Gary Paffett, also Nico Muller, Augusto Farfus, Paul De Resta and Adrien Tombe as well. the incident there between cars number 8, Miguel Molina, and car 17, Timo Glock, under investigation. I'm not sure that we absolutely saw that, but it's under investigation. Whatever it was, the steward saw it. And in the garage of Robert Wickens there, the Freeman's World Robert Wickens liveried Mercedes-Benz. Robert down there, P15 on the option tyres though. So for goodness knows how many laps, these cars lined up behind the safety car, which is coming in this lap. So we're going to have a sort of a 9-minute dash to the checkered flag. Ekstrom, Wittmann, Tomczyk, then Mortara, Wehrlein, Vitoris. The top 6, Maxime Martin, P7, Green 8, Scheider 9, Spengler P10. Well, lights still flashing on the safety car, but being told by race control that it is coming in this lap. Indeed so, the lights go out now, and Matthias Ekstrom will back them all up and hope to get an absolute flyer here. So starting to weave, so to Marco Wittmann. But Matthias Ekstrom being shod on the option tyres. It's Vitoris from P6, who has Wehrlein ahead of him. Vitoris, you can see the yellow indicators on the left-hand side, that graphic on your screen. Those names that are emblazoned in yellow are the ones that run the option tyres in the final part of this race, and therefore have that option tyre advantage. So Vitoris and Martin could potentially be heading for the podium. But they've got to get past those cars, and they have under 8 minutes to do it. So a lot of work to do. The man right at the front, though, Matthias Ekstrom, should be untroubled. He leads now by a second as they cross the timing line over Marco Wittmann, Martin Tomczyk, Edo Mortara, then it's Pascal Wehrlein. So Christian Vitoris shouldn't have a problem getting past Pascal Wehrlein. They're two Mercedes running together there. So Vitoris is running on the option tyres. We can see, looking back from Pascal Wehrlein, this is Christian Vitoris, and just how close they get. Brilliant shot here. This is DTM at Zandvoort. So, yeah, Vitoris goes past Wehrlein, Maxime Martin. Well, Wehrlein will shut the door on Martin, that's for sure. So Martin going to have to work hard as we see a splitter flying off the circuit there right in front of our camera. So Vitoris moves up to P5, podium in sight potentially for Christian Vitoris, also potentially for Maxime Martin, but he's got to get past Pascal Wehrlein. And does he do it now? Yes, he does. So Maxime Martin goes through. There's P2, P3, P4, and then Christian Vitoris is going to be the charger here from P5. Next, he has Eduardo Mortara ahead of him, Timo Scheider there, and Bruno Spengler and Danny Juncadella, we can see. So Christian Vitoris. And Eduardo Mortara, right, Vitoris now, as they head towards the Tarzan turn. Is close enough to be able to dive up the inside, or is he? He takes a look, but Mortara shuts the door. So the time is slipping away here. We have under 6 minutes left to run in this DTM race. Martin now right on the back of Christian Vitoris. Those two cars that are P5 and P6 are both shod with the option tyres, the superior, the faster option tyres, but they still have to overtake the cars that are ahead of them. And at the moment, they're stacking up behind Eduardo Mortara, who is P4 and he's running on the standard tyres. Audi doing very, very well in P4, but is he going to be able to defend for 5.5 minutes to the superior grip offered by the option tyres for Christian Vitoris and Maxime Martin? Audi, Mercedes, BMW. This is a big, big fight here in the final stages of this DTM race at Zandvoort. And round has gone Jamie Green. There's our race leader, Matthias Ekström, who has jolly near 4 seconds on Marco Wittmann as Vitoris tries once again to line up Eduardo Mortara. But the lineup didn't work. He wasn't able to get past. You can see that right at the top of the screen, it's changed from laps to time. It's under 5 minutes. So Vitoris really needs to get the hurry up now. Tries to dive up the inside of Mortara going into the Tarzan turn 1. Wasn't able to do so. The race being led by Matthias Ekström. Marco Wittmann is currently P2. Tomczyk is P3. Mortara, that man, is P4. And he's holding up Christian Vitoris and Maxime Martin, who are right behind in P5 and P6. But Mortara doing absolutely nothing wrong, and that's how Jamie Green went out. With a touch from Bruno Spengler. There's our P2 driver, Marco Wittmann, the champion. There's P3, Martin Tomczyk. And Mortara still holding Vitoris. And Maxime Martin behind. Now, to be fair, on the option tyres, the cars that have been the best on the option tyres have been the Audis, but Mortara is not running the option tyre. What I'm trying to say is that the advantage Vitoris and Martin have with the option tyres on their Mercedes and BMW, respectively, still not necessarily as good as the option tyres were working with the Audis. But now DRS is enabled with under 3 minutes left to run. So, with a lap time of in the 1:30s, time is running out for both Christian Vitoris and Maxime Martin. Eduardo Mortara, can he hold this train up behind him for the remainder of this race? It's a big, big ask. There's Tomczyk, there's Mortara. Vitoris lines him up once again. We'll have the benefit of DRS, of course, when he deploys it. Maxime Martin, the same. Edo Mortara in defending, doing a great job and has done for a few laps now. There's Marco Wittmann, P2. There's our P3. Vitoris deploys the DRS. You can see the wing go down and dives up the inside of Edo Mortara. But Mortara shuts the door and still Vitoris is denied. Look at this. Absolutely, Maxime Martin might be able to take advantage here. Mortara runs to try and shut the door on Christian Vitoris once again. 1.5 minutes left. And down the start-finish straight they go, heading towards the Tarzan turn now. Christian Vitoris, he's not close enough to Mortara to go up the inside. Martin takes a look around the outside. Pascal Wehrlein's going to try and deny Maxime Martin. Car number 9, Bruno Spengler, gets a drive-through penalty. There he is. And that for the instant on Jamie Green. Maxime Martin, the loser in that little battle because Pascal Wehrlein went through. There's under a minute left. There's this and one more lap then by my calculations. And still, Eduardo Mortara is holding Christian Vitoris at bay. Matthias Ekström just shot up the lead. He's some 8 seconds jolly near ahead of Marco Wittmann in P2. Then it's Martin Tomczyk, P3. We're on board with Danny Juncadella, and ahead the Bruno Spengler car, which has got a drive-through penalty, which if it's not taken, the time will be added, of course, at the end of the race. There is our race leader, Matthias Ekström. Just look at the gap he has over P2, Marco Wittmann. And then it's P3, then P4 and P5. Maxime Martin now behind Pascal Wehrlein in that melee between Mortara and Vitoris. Wehrlein, because Martin was involved in that, we're on the last lap. Martin lost out as Pascal Wehrlein got past Martin again. Bear in mind, Wehrlein is running on the not on the standard tyre. Martin is on the option tyre. Spengler through on Danny Juncadella, but it looks like Christian Vitoris has given up the chase here. And now Maxime Martin is trying to move up another position, try and retake Pascal Wehrlein again. That's how close Maxime Martin is getting in P7 to try and get past Pascal Wehrlein. Wehrlein runs up onto the grass. Martin is right alongside him, but Martin has done enough to go through now. And Bruno Spengler, also on the option tyres, is charging. Two there, you can see the BMW bank car. It's futile though because he's got a drive-through penalty to serve. The time will be added, of course, to his race finish time. Pascal Wehrlein then, once again through the windscreen, can see the BMW of Maxime Martin. But this man has driven like a demon, and he made sure he got rid of those cars that he needed to pass. In the second half of the race, running on the option tyres, Matthias Ekstrom is going to deliver as we see Miguel Molina out. He is going to deliver not only a victory for Matthias Ekstrom, but a victory for Audi, so needed as he crosses the line. And he locks up the tyres to take the checkered flag. And Matthias Ekstrom takes the win. And talk about lock-up, he really has. He's dragging that car alongside the pit wall. Got the back tyres lit up, smoke in the Audi. Audi take the first win of the season. And the relief and the delight. Ekstrom from Wittmann, from Tomczyk. Well, the safety car period's really messing with the strategies and providing an amazing race for us to